Mm-hmm. I bet. Just a minute. It lives, I see. Do you want to speak with Lolita? I'm sorry, but Gabriel is allowed. Oh, I mean, he's out. Yeah, if he ever comes back, I'll tell him. You know, you could do better. I know I don't know you, but you could do better. Sure. Bye-bye. Good morning. The phone's been ringing off the hook all morning. Let me know when you want your messages.
Yeah.
Gee, you're lively. Did you have another nightmare last night?
Sort of.
Mm-hmm. I told you it's that voodoo book you're researching. That stuff can seriously screw up your karma.
I'm sure that's it. Maybe I should write a horror novel on passive resistance instead.
So don't sleep. It's your body. Anyway, your handheld tape recorder came today.
Really? Great.
I can't wait to see what human rights you violate with this one.
I can't wait to violate them. For example, if you would just let me...
And I located some local voodoo references for you. Dixieland Drugstore and the Historical Museum of Voodoo. Both are right here in French Quarter.
How would I ever manage without you?
You? Give me a break. The devil himself couldn't change you.
Well, if the devil had great legs, perhaps. Like yours.
And a riveting personality, I'm sure. Well, if you need any more research done, just ask. It's not as though we're swamped with customers.
The old desk is one Gabriel's picked up near a dumpster. Not too shabby, eh? Well, okay. Maybe it is.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I didn't know much of anything about it until you started researching it for your book. Now I know that it's active in the city. There's that shop and museum. It can clearly be dangerous in the wrong hands. You should be careful investigating it.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Just what I read in the paper, same as you.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Well, I've only been here 2 months, but I love it. It's so much more alive than any place I've been. It feels like anything's possible here.
Tell me about yourself, Grace.
Yeah, right, Knight.
I mean it.
What do you want to know?
How come we haven't gone out yet?
I'm still waiting around for that lobotomy. As soon as I get it, I'll let you know.
How do you like working at St. George's Books?
Well, it's not exactly a huge intellectual challenge. Although the math in your record books could confuse Einstein. Still, I love old books, and it's a nice way to pay the bills while I explore the city for a summer. If you ever pay me, that is.
What do you do after work?
Well, I either go to my oil painting class or my Tai Chi. You know that.
You know, you can go overboard with this improving yourself stuff. You don't want to alienate us mere mortals.
I suppose I should just allow my mind and body to atrophy.
Works for me. How old are you?
Old enough to know about men like you.
Just tell me anything at all.
I just got my master's in history and classics. My folks wanted me to go on right away for my PhD, but 18 years of school was enough. I needed a break.
Nothing, I guess. Never mind.
Suit yourself.
Do you have messages for me?
Dana called, and Susie left a message about a lawsuit.
Toss 'em.
Okie dokie. There's more when you want 'em.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your grandmother called.
I keep meaning to get over there. What did she say? Did she sound good?
She sounded great, and we had a nice little chat about you.
Grace.
Don't worry. I didn't go into detail about your cardinal sins. Not that anything about you could surprise her. She adores you anyway.
She's my girl.
But she said to remind you to stop by and go through your father's things.
Okay. Do you have more messages for me?
Here's a strange one. You got a call from someone named Wolfgang Ritter? He said he was calling from Germany. He told me it was urgent, maybe you should give him a call.
Call Germany, like hell. If it's really important, he'll call back.
Well, fine. Let's just hope he's not with the German lottery for pitiful American authors.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your friend Detective Mosley called. Talkative, isn't he?
Especially with you. What do you want?
He left an interesting message. He told me to tell you that his mother's maiden name is Humphrey. Oh, that's Humprey.
Fascinating.
And that he left some photos for you at the station, at the front desk.
It's about time.
Gabriel, those photos wouldn't have anything to do with the voodoo murders, would they?
Now, why would you say something like that?
Because I know you. You're getting privileged information, aren't you? Did you tell him you'd put him in your new voodoo book?
A writer has certain obligation to his readers, you know.
Gabriel, you know you'll never put him in your book. Your main character is a female orthodontist. You're gonna be reincarnated as a pit bull if you keep screwing with your karma.
As long as it's a male pit bull with a really big...
That's enough. Thanks. Anyway, that's all the messages. Thank God.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the tweezers for a bit.
Good. You're beginning to look a little scruffy.
Just trying to make you feel at home. Mind if I borrow the magnifying glass?
No, Sherlock. Just bring it back when we get the next estate shipment.
No problem.
Times Picayune, dated June 18, 1993. The front page has an article about the voodoo murders. The article says that the victims are all identified as members of the underworld. The general public of New Orleans is in no danger. Police claim the so-called voodoo trappings found at the crime scenes are fake, a scare tactic, and that the murders are not associated with any genuine practitioners. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Potential storms ahead. Proceed with caution and do not get involved with anything new at this time.
Right.
Gabriel's had all those books in the bathroom and doesn't care to read them again. Gabriel selects a volume of German poetry that he always found strangely compelling.
Drei Drachen. Drei Drachen kriechen in meinen Schlaf. Die Ziele wollen sie lebendig zum Fraß. Feurigen Atems, gespaltener Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
That's nice. Kinda creepy, though. Who's the author?
Heinz Ritter. I'm not sure what it says, but I get the feeling the guy was one sick puppy.
Gabriel pulls down a book on snakes.
Snakes are legless reptiles. Some snakes kill their prey with poison, some by constriction.
A snake smells by tasting the air with its forked tongue. The smells are passed back to a sense organ in the mouth. Constrictor snakes, however, sense their prey by vibration.
Did you know that medieval legends about dragons and giant worms are actually based on snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters, well, they've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get alive.
good coffee.
It's certainly light enough, but rather useless, as Gabriel well knows. It's certainly light enough. Wishful thinking. Gabriel would love to move his cash register. Gabriel opens the cash register to examine the take, or in the case of St. George books, the mistake.
I trust you can live without this old gift certificate.
Knock yourself out.
Three snakes in a skull. Gabriel's father painted it.
What a wacky, offbeat kind of guy Daddy was.
Three snakes in a skull. Gabriel's father painted it.
What a wacky, offbeat kind of guy Daddy was. See you later.
Good luck.
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
Sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all. Give us a kiss. Now come and sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing. And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is very southern. Of course, though, not as much as it used to be when I was a girl. It's gotten much more influenced by the East Coast and that California stuff. Still, it hasn't changed as much as other places, I reckon. We've always been happy here.
Tell me about yourself.
Me? Oh, surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
Oh, come on, Gran.
All right, dear. What do you want to hear?
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden. I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Well, you know I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas, corn, cotton, all kinds of things. It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
Tell me how you met Granddaddy.
I met Harrison at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, come to me to find your way. Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend Alma, and at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fire and brimstone annex, and a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for men, went flying off. I swear, Harrison and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. It was then I knew that he was for me.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Just tell me anything at all.
I never loved any man but your grandfather, and I never will.
Just tell me anything at all.
I hate to admit it, but I was a jealous little thing when your granddad and I were younger. I loved him so ferociously, and he did attract the eyes of the ladies, whether he wanted to or not.
Just tell me anything at all.
I get lonely sometimes, but I have lots of girlfriends in the neighborhood. I call one of them if I'm feeling blue.
Just tell me anything at all.
I wish you'd settle down and give me a great-grandchild.
Oh, Gran. Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Oh, nothing, never mind.
All right, dear.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him. It didn't matter to me. But he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were 2 peas in a pod.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then, and he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel, and your granddad's.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school. But Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Tell me about my father.
He always hated it that it was Margaret's money that supported the 3 of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or 2. But he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Tell me about my father.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me something about Granddad.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked defying her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will. Tell me about my mother.
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great-aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my mother.
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. They never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
Tell me about my mother.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Tell me about yourself.
What more do you want to know, dear?
Oh, nothing, never mind.
All right, dear.
I'm going to go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
I think I'll take Daddy's sketchbook with me.
Those two objects would have no effect on each other. Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook, the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel. So familiar are they that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious. Gabriel doesn't want to take the clock. Nothing happens. Gabriel can't operate the clock that way.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
The old photographs show Gabriel's grandfather with two other men that Gabriel has not identified. The letter is addressed to Heinz Ritter. The letter is addressed to Heinz Ritter, whoever that is. The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of quill-tip bold strokes and underlining.
That's it. Take a load off, hon.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Have you ever heard of a Schattenjäger?
Schattenjäger? Schattenjäger. How odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Thanks, Gran. Do you know anyone named Heinz Ritter?
Heinz Ritter? Oh, Gabriel. Where did you hear that name?
I found a letter in Granddaddy's clock.
I promised I'd never tell you or your father. But I suppose it doesn't matter now.
Tell me, Gran.
Your granddad's name was Heinz Ritter before he came to America. He changed it to Harrison Knight legally when he arrived.
Why did Granddad change his name?
I don't know. I tried to ask him about his family, his life before America, but he didn't want to talk about it. He never even told me about his name change. I found out one day when I saw his passport in a drawer. Since he obviously found it painful, I never questioned him about it. But I'm sure it wasn't trouble with the law. Your granddad was the best man I ever knew.
Didn't Granddad ever say anything about his past or his family?
Only that his family was crazy, and that he never wanted to see them again. He believed in some family curse, thought that he could spare Philip and Philip's children from what he called old nightmares. Whatever Harrison wanted to spare you, though, it cost him plenty. He never did sleep well, and he would often get a far-away, guilty look in his eyes. He was wrestling with something he thought he should be doing, someplace he thought he ought to be. I don't know how he could think that he should be anywhere but with me and our child. It's a terrible way to live.
Do you know anything else about Heinz Ritter?
I've told you all I know about your granddad's past.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Me? Nothing. I'm a Catholic boy.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I'm not allowed to give out information on police cases.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I'll tell you, I'm glad as hell it's not Mardi Gras. If it weren't for that 1 month a year, being a cop in New Orleans would be a real pleasure. As it is, I'd rather stick behind this desk.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Can't say that I have, but it sounds dirty.
Tell me about yourself.
Who, me? I'm the Desk Sergeant Frick. Why?
Frick?
That's right. You got a problem with that?
Not at all. I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's out at the crime scene. Sorry.
Where is the crime scene? Is it related to the voodoo murders?
Crime scene information is police confidential. We don't need any more looky-loos than are probably already there.
About Detective Mosley.
I told you, he's not here.
I was supposed to pick up some photos from Detective Mosley at the front desk.
Is that right? And who are you?
My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Yeah, I got something for you, all right. Soon as you're done talking, I'll give it to you. Here's that envelope for you, Gabriel Knight.
Thanks.
The envelope from Mosley is a plain manila one. It feels pretty light. Gabriel opens the manila envelope and finds 2 photographs. One of the photos from Mosley is an official voodoo murders crime scene shot. A graphic close-up of a victim. The photograph of Mosley was apparently taken upon his graduation from the police academy. He had hair then. A cop has driven his motorcycle into the park. Something Gabriel would probably never get away with. On the motorcycle is a police radio.
Coroner requests assistance at Maryland.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Not now, buddy. I'm busy.
I should have noticed that. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
Ambulance to Maryland.
Why, you nasty thing, you. I'll call the police, I will. Why, you nasty thing, you. I'll call the police, I will. Well, I never. Leave me alone, you man. Hey, stop picking on me. I'll tell my dad.
Anyone seen Joe?
Hey, cut that out. I told you to stop that. All right, mister. You want some of this?
Gabriel picks up the headset and listens.
Ambulance 911, have you located the crime scene? They've radioed for you 3 times.
Damn! Did you say it was north of the Lake Retreat Country Club?
South. Lakeside Drive north of Piedmont Pier, south of the country club.
Man, I don't know if it's the clouds out here today or what. Good thing this guy's already dead.
Everyone's having trouble. Must have been hallucinogens in the coffee this morning.
It's just so misty out here or something. Hey, I see a squad car. Got it, Molly.
Thank God. Have a good one, 911.
Interesting.
Stupid mime. Hey, you! Get away from that bike.
Sorry. Could I ask you a few questions?
Not now, buddy. I'm busy.
I should have noticed that. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
Coroner requests assistance at Maryland.
The crime scene team is still at the site. Gabriel parks a bit out of the way and walks over to avoid adding to the general confusion.
Hey, mostly.
Huh? Knight, you wiener, I told you not to call me that.
Feeling jumpy?
Who, me? Don't be stupid. How'd you find me?
Oh, I was just driving by.
Mm-hmm. Well, for the book. But don't tell anyone I let you see this, huh? It's another one. As you can see, same M.O. and no frickin' clues. We're still waiting on an ID for the body.
That's disgusting. Isn't this a rather, public area for this kind of thing?
Yeah, they're frickin' ghosts, these guys. Lakeshore Drive isn't exactly the 10 expressway, but it is open to the public. No reports and nothing. Now, who the hell is that? Good day, Miss Getty.
What's going on, officer?
Detective Mosley, ma'am. We've got a little problem here, but nothing for you to be concerned about, Miss Getty.
I see. Thank you, detective. And good day, gentlemen.
Whoa, I'm in love.
Forget it. That's Malia Getty. She's about as far out of your reach as the moon. Probably on her way to meet some guy with a yacht right now.
Near here?
The lake's a popular place for country clubs.
If she's out here a lot, maybe she saw something or heard something.
Nah, nobody ever sees or hears nothing. I told you. Besides, you just don't go around bothering people like her.
We've about wrapped it up, sir. It's another clean sweep.
Yeah, let's get the meat wagon moving then.
Do you want to leave an officer here, sir?
Nah, just leave the tape up for a few days.
Yes, sir. If you'll excuse us, sir, we'll take him away.
Stick around and take notes for the book if you want. Watch out for the muck in the water moccasins, though. I'll be back at the station. Stop by if you want to go over the case some more.
Thanks.
There seems to be a pattern to the lines in the sand, but if there is a pattern, it's smeared. There's only one small area that's clearly defined.
Let me try to get this down.
Out down the spot. Will these pristine banks ne'er be cleaned again? Patches of grass have managed to survive life on the banks of Lake Pontchartrain. It's very large grass. Gabriel is already magnifying the grass. It's very large grass. There are marks in the grass as though some heavy wire object had been set there. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to take the small iridescent scale.
I think it's a snake scale, but it beats the hell out of me what kind. Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
Do you know anything about snakes?
What does this look like? A zoo? Never mind, don't answer that. No, I don't know nothing about no snakes.
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, come on in.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
There's voodoo that goes on in this city, sure. I looked into it a bit at the beginning of this case. But the voodoo stuff found at the crime scenes is all faked. It doesn't have anything to do with the real stuff. I know. I asked some experts. It's intimidation tactics, that's all.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Lots. Can you be more specific?
Do you know anything about the killers?
At least 20 people attend the killings. We know this from the variety of footprints found at the scenes.
Footprints? Aren't those as good as fingerprints?
Can be, but we'd have to have a suspect in custody first, and the suspect would have to match one of the few distinct prints we have. Most of the footprints are smudged, trodden over, unreadable. These guys are so casual in their expertise, it's maddening. Like they know we'll never find them.
How many murders have there been so far?
7 murders have so far been linked to the voodoo murders case. Now, the first murder occurred about 8 weeks ago. The M.O. was the same in each murder. Lake Pontchartrain was the 7th.
What kind of evidence have you found?
No fingerprints, a few bare footprints. Found a few fibers, but not many. The weirdest one was leopard fur.
Leopard fur? Describe the crime scenes.
Well, there's the corpse itself, minus the heart. Around where the body was killed, we find marks and flour and blood. There are traces of wax from candles, red and black. Ordinary wax candles, so the lab reports. Also blood and feathers of chickens. Also goat's blood. And plenty of the victim's own, of course.
What's the coroner say?
The victim's heart is always ripped out of the chest and missing. We haven't located a single one of them.
Oh, lovely. Any idea what they do with them?
Don't even want to know. Also, the coroner says some of the victims had heart attacks before the incision. Literally scared to death. The knife wounds are consistent with a long, narrow, wavy-edged knife. Probably a ritualistic dagger.
Any witnesses?
Nope. There's never been a single witness. No one's even heard a disturbance. It's damned weird. Like they just don't want people to see, and so nobody sees nothing.
Know anything about the victims?
The victims are all out-of-towners. We still don't know why.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Sure, no problem.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
You and me grew up together. You tell me. It's a pretty nice place, even seeing the stuff I see. You know, the quarter's getting a bit too wild, though. Getting hard to control. Not quite what it was when you and me used to hang here, but hell, I've never known anything else.
Do you know anything about snakes?
The only thing I know about snakes is I don't like them.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No. Ha! Is that anything like a Chuck Yeager?
I don't think there's any relation. Tell me about yourself.
For the book?
Sure, why not?
Okay, what do you want to know?
How'd you like working on the police force?
Are you kidding? You know I love being a cop. In New Orleans, it's the best place in the world to be one.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, you know, I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but I don't see why I can't be the chief of police of New Orleans someday. I already know the mayor, and my record is one of the best in the department.
I'm sure it's just a matter of moments, mostly.
Yeah, you'll see.
Got any hobbies?
Yeah, making your life miserable.
I'm serious. Don't you shoot or chew or something like that?
No, I'm a freaking ballet dancer. Jeez. Yeah, I was #1 at the Louisiana State Fair Marksman Contest. I play trumpet, too. You know, put your lips together and blow.
How's your home life?
Oh, real funny, Knight. Why don't you just bring in some frickin' salt? Well, you know Annie left me. My home life is shit.
Right. Sorry about that. Just tell me anything at all.
Remember how we used to play monkey in the middle? We used to piss off our senior year teacher. What was her name? Ms. McKelly? You'd act like you were gonna toss her an eraser or something. Then you'd throw it to me over her head. And we used to do it at your grand's, too. Like with the remote when she wanted to watch her soaps.
Yep. And it was a great way to pick up women in the library. Oh, those were the days. Oh, nothing. Never mind.
It's your dime.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
It's going. Can't seem to make any progress, though. Sluggish damn case. It's weird.
Do you know anything about the patterns around the bodies?
Yeah, weird, huh? All 7 victims had those little marks around them. We got all the marks on file, but we haven't figured out what, if anything, they mean.
Can I see the other 6 patterns?
Sure. People like that kind of stuff, don't they? Might make the book seem more mysterious. Go talk to Officer Franks. Tell her I said you could see the file.
The suit doesn't open.
Can I ask you a few questions, ma'am?
I'm sorry, sir, but I really have to finish these reports.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Can you get a file for me?
What file would that be?
The Voodoo Murders file? Detective Mosley said I could see it.
Really? Well, if he said so. There it is. You can look at it all you want, but don't leave this area with it, okay? And no photocopies either, I'm afraid.
Of course. I understand completely.
It's the official police file, containing the partial patterns from the Voodoo murders. The folder is marked with the warning, not to leave the police station. The police file contains partial patterns from the first 6 Voodoo murders.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
So, what's it like being a policewoman?
The glamour never ceases.
I'm done.
Yeah, thanks.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
I got those photographs you left for me.
Really? Great. What'd you think?
Astonishingly lifelike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Got any more ideas for photos for the book?
A cop author photo might be nice.
You and me? Together?
Why not? Of course, you'll have to try to tone down your masculinity.
Well, okay. I'll call the police photographer. Franks, come here a minute, would you? And bring your camera.
What did you need, Detective Mosley?
We need a picture, please. And make it a good one, huh, sweetheart?
Sure, sweetheart.
Say, chintzy.
Was there anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
Good God, Knight, make it fast.
Let me see that file again. Just want to check this machine here.
Would you just get in here? Hurry up, would you?
Okay, ready.
Thanks, hon. Let me know when you got it developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
How about getting me some coffee?
Coffee? You want coffee?
Should that surprise you?
Nah, you've always been a caffeine addict. It's just that what we got here hardly qualifies.
So, I'm desperate.
It's your stomach. I'll get you some when we're done talking.
That long?
All right, I'll go now. Don't touch anything while I'm gone.
Mosley's desk has more groin on it than on his head.
Here, drink it.
Thanks. I'll let you get back to it.
Ciao, baby.
Hi. Look around all you want.
Okay, thanks. Could I ask you a few questions?
I wouldn't be much help. You should talk to Dr. John, the owner. He'll be back tomorrow.
I see. Thank you.
The doorway is already open.
I'll be gone now, thanks.
So long.
Hi.
The sign say, Special Saint Jean Eve, Lagnappe, free bottle of lover come back to me oil, or master gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Lagniappe. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
Root bags, curio boxes, and magic candles, sold as curios only. We cannot guarantee results. The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want. I'll answer what I want.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Cabri Sancour.
What did you say?
Nothing. Those killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
What did you mean when you said Cabri Sancour?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I've lived here all my life, me.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons and boas. So I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Man, I don't even know what language that is.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
Lucy, I'm home.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you know anything about snakes?
Doing a family tree, Gabriel?
Very funny. I mean real snakes. You know, scaly, cold-blooded. I would have thought you'd find them empathetic.
Mm-hmm. I know very little about reptiles of any kind and prefer to keep it that way. I think there's a book on snakes around here somewhere, though.
Okay, thanks. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Never heard of it. It must be a local custom. New Orleans love any excuse to celebrate.
Do you know what Cabri Sancour means?
No, Sounds French, though.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No. Is that a voodoo word?
I don't think so. It's German.
No, but it has a nice ring, doesn't it? Schottenjäger.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope. None right now.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
Could you see what you can find out about a woman named Malia Getty?
The name Getty sounds familiar. What's your interest in her?
Oh, just, stuff about the voodoo murders. If you could get an address...
They're murders. Right. I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well... it's about closing time.
So it is. Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gabriel. And try not to dream, okay?